A simple, practical application that you can do no matter what your location is, as long as you have 100 meters. You don't need a map, you don't need a compass. You can just use your phone, but I'm going to caution you to not cheat as you're doing this. There's a few apps that I use. 2 of them are free. One is the USNG app. Another one is ReGrid, and that's to let you look at some property boundaries to make sure that you're in a public area. And then the last one that is paid for is Mill GPS, and it works exactly, the interface looks almost identical to what you'd expect if you've ever used a dagger in the military. So 2 things that you can do here. The first one is just to work on your dadgum pace count, right? Straight out and back. So pick a location and mark it. Use that USNG app that's free and take a screenshot. Once you have that, determine a direction. In this case, I'm going to move north and move out 100 meters. As you're moving along, make sure that you're paying attention to your surroundings, where the sun's at. If you're using a compass to do some dead reckoning, maybe you had a map and you're looking at some of those terrain features that you should expect along the way. But when you get to your area, just stop and look down at your phone, use those apps, and double check your exact location. And once you know that you're good to go, within 3 meters. In this case, we got pretty spot on. Take some flagging tape or some other method of marking and mark this out. Now you can go back yourself and just go back and forth on this 100 meters with some gear, without some gear, during the day, during the night, and you can test your pace count. You can bring some other folks along and they can test their pace count as well. But we can continue with the second technique that I want to give you. And that's what we're going to do is we're basically going to make a box. And so I've already walked out 100 meters. Now I'm basically executing a right face. I'm turning 90 degrees. And I'm going to walk out for another 100 meters. Basically doing the same thing, but at the end of the day, we're going to end up making a box. And this is going to help give you and those that you're trying to teach and become better students at land navigation an exercise that will help them do just that. So yeah, we're walking through, and the great thing about this is that instead of just having one piece of terrain, you're going to have multiple. So in this case, I'm already moving downhill, and so you're going to be able to test your pace count through maybe some thicker vegetation, maybe some that's going to be going uphill, downhill, and again, you can do this daytime, nighttime, with gear, without gear, to make sure that you have confidence in your ability. So we go out our 100 meters, and again, we're having to bob and weave around fir trees and shrubs and all kinds of other stuff. And once you get out to your 100 meters, again, you just want to stop and look and take stock of what it is that you just went through. Consider, if you were moving downhill, do I need to move further? Or should I have backed up? But once you get to the 100 meters and you've double checked that coordinate using those apps, mark that location again. In this case, I'm putting all of my markers up at about eye level because as you're walking through, like you're not going to be able to see this if you're even just 20 meters away with the vegetation that I have. But you do want to be able to see it, especially if you come through at night or if you're bringing a group to do an exercise. So again, I'm just going to execute a right face. And so now I'm basically shooting in the exact opposite direction that I initially began with. So me and Riggs, we're going to take off. And again, we're going to have some more bobbing and weaving to go to. And you would be surprised at how much difference there can be just 100 meters apart from another location. Again, whether it's some micro-terrain features, whether it's some vegetation that, again, you're having to bob or weave around, or any other hazard that may be out there. So we get out our 100 meters. We, again, double check and verify where we're at. and then we execute that last right face and take our way back. And the reason that you need to look at your app again is because you want to make sure that you get it dead on the mark for where that 100 meters is. And then when you go back and you put together this exercise, just make sure that you account whether those azimuths that people need to shoot is a grid azimuth or if it's already magnetic. So if it's grid and they need to convert, make sure that you convert, or make sure that you tell the people around you to convert. Because if you're going from coordinate to coordinate, that's going to be a grid azimuth, not a magnetic, right? Does that make sense? So we're at our third spot. Now we're going to move back up to our starting point. So if you remember, after point 1, we were moving downhill. So now we're going to end up moving uphill, right? So this is going to help test our pace count so that we can really trust it. There's two things that you have to do when it comes to land navigation. At the end of the day, I mean, there's really just two things. Move in a straight line for the correct distance, right? So being able to do this during the day, at nighttime, in different conditions is absolutely critically important. Then we make it back up to where we started, right? And so I'm going to use this here at the Stoked Academy as the pre-exercise before we actually go out and conduct land navigation. Again, just to help give folks confidence in their ability to trust their compass, right? They can shoot an azimuth, and that they can trust their pace count. You do that for 100 meters. Maybe you're in your own location, and extend it out. Build one out that's 200 meters. Build one out that's 400 meters. Build one out that's an entire grid square. And trust yourself. And if you don't have, if this is a one-time shot for you, what you can do, instead of setting up a course like I did here for this exercise, is just walk out 200 meters. And then pick up that app and see if you're exactly 200 meters away from where you started, and that it's the right coordinate, right? That you didn't drift left or right. So your distance is correct and your angle was correct from where you started. And then move yourself back. And if you're good, do it again out to 400 meters and then move yourself back, right? All you have to do is just take that quick screenshot for where you started and determine where you need to go. It's the easiest thing to do is if everything lines up and you're at 640009800, right, or whatever it is. It just makes the visual of looking at your photos, when you look back up to where you started, just make a little bit more sense when you're looking at where you're at after you've moved out the prescribed distance that you wanted to. But team, I hope this quick video put something in your kit bag. That way you can go out and master your craft. Again, whether it's just you or whether you want to take some teammates, take out some kids, and do something with a scouting program or whatever it is. Either way about it, make sure you leave some comments down below, whether it's about this technique or another one that you've employed that has had a lasting impact on your current skill set. Team, I appreciate you guys. And until then, you stay out there, you keep grinding, and you stay stoked.
We know you're out there! Come to my voice!
Team, if you want to master your craft and develop your tactical virtue, make sure you subscribe to the channel and click that notification bell so that you can stay up to date on future content. Consider becoming a channel member. It's going to give you exclusive access to content not available to anybody else. I appreciate you guys. Until then, you stay out there, you keep grinding, and you stay stoked.